Okay, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Friends of Vidz, and this is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 70. So we are now in 70 episodes, and we're approaching 100, which is 30 episodes away. So we're getting closer and closer week by week. But yeah, tonight is episode 70 of the Ankle Breaker Podcast, and I am joined by all that Champa, the co-host as always. Good to have you on the channel again, bro.
Yeah, welcome everyone in the chat. Yeah, episode 70, it's a big one. We're also in the final round of the season. A lot of exciting games coming up, and yeah, I'm getting real excited. Everybody, you're not gonna miss out. We have a good episode coming up, and episode 70, some great topics. Stay tuned. Make sure to like and subscribe, do all that good shit. And yeah, let's get right into it.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. So, look, I know it said that tonight we had Dragons fan guy special guest, but he had reasons for not being on tonight, so it's fair enough. It's all good. But yeah, me and Champa will definitely make sure it's a good show tonight. And yeah, so far so good. A good crowd so far. We've got 7 people inside a minute tuned in, so that's something. Go look into the live chat, see who's turned up so far. So Jason Reader, as always. Got Matthew Barnes, Josh Rabbitohs 2023, Warriors NRL Fanatics. Got Nick from Australia, Will, and Liam Pritchard too. So, yeah, good crowd so far, and hope you all enjoy the show tonight because it will be a good show. And as Champa said, got a lot of interesting things to talk about, a lot of big topics heading to finals. So, yeah, it'll be good to all talk about in the end. So, as always, Champa, we'll start with our, thoughts of the round it was. Just a quick sort of brief talk about how he thought the round went. Now, obviously a few things happened, suspension and other situation-wise, which we'll talk about in the topics and stuff. But just the round in general, bro, what did you make of it? Like, what were some things that stood out to you?
Right, yeah, I think it was a really exciting round of footy. It started off with a massive upset with Parramatta knocking off Penrith Panthers.
Yeah,
something that no one would have seen happening, but it was a great way for Parramatta to end their season with the win over the competition favourites and big time rivals in the Penrith Panthers. It as good as Penrith can ever be, they always have one thorn in their ass, and that is the Parramatta Eels. They somehow find a way to beat them, which makes the Battle of the West such an exciting game to watch, and that was great. We also seen the Knights Cronulla yesterday. Knights cemented themselves as a certified top 8 team. That they are serious. I'm pretty sure it's 8 straight, which is great to see. And yeah, look, Knights are flying at the moment. We also seen the Tigers unfortunately fall short to the Sydney Roosters. Look, that was a tough match to watch. I watched the first half and I was like, you know what, we can. This is showing great signs, and we're still competitive in that match. And then the second round came and we just completely fell asleep and the Roosters took over. And other games we saw Manly Dogs, the DCE show.
That's right.
That's what it was. And how great was DCE to give the kicking duties to Jordan Cancum-Tong. Oh, man. And honestly, he had a great debut. He was so safe in that dummy half position. He took some good runs himself. And he's definitely going to have a long stay in the NRL. And I'm really excited to see what the future holds for him. But in my thoughts, round 26, it was a great round. And look, it sets up for the final round 27. A lot of good games happening then. But yeah, I'm really excited. I think it was a great round for you.
Yeah, for sure. And for sure, yeah. Like, obviously, when I was at Manly Dogs yesterday, it was great to see Gordon have a great debut. And funnily enough, he's a fan of the channel as well. Because when I've met him before, he's talked about how he loves the content I do and things like that. So,
that's great.
So just seeing that and seeing him make his debut was special. So, yeah, very happy for him. But, yeah, look, obviously, my thoughts are pretty much the same. I guess there were some games where it could have had potential to be good, but probably blew out in the end. Like, your boys Tigers, they actually played pretty well in the first half. I won't lie. Like, they scored the first try, didn't they? And then after that, Roosters just, I guess, were a bit too strong. But Tigers, they had some effort, and I know that we play Utes this week, so we can't go into that game thinking that it's all going to be easy, because I know that the Tigers they have some effort in there and have no pressure on themselves, and obviously we're back at rookie for Jake's 200th game, so there's a bit of expectation there. So
it's gonna be a real interesting game. I reckon it's gonna be a real interesting game.
Yeah, well, it's the battle of the co-hosts, I guess, or the host and the co-host, me versus you. So
it's the Luke Brooks Cup.
Yeah, well, is there a barbecue there?
Yeah, there might be a barbecue after the game.
The Brooksy barbecue, yeah. Well, that's a beautiful gift to, I guess, be a testimony to what this game does bring. But yeah, well, look, obviously Tigers had some effort in there against the Roosters, but weren't quite there to win it. But yeah, look, I didn't see this match as much because I was getting home. But Knights and the Sharks, yeah, well, Knights have pretty much locked themselves for a top 8 spot in a home final. So got to think, ever since Bali happened, they've just come out a different team. And that's just a huge resurgence, like a really big resurgence, actually. And yeah, Cronulla, well, they've got to beat Canberra this week to make finals, and I think they will make it either way. But I guess it depends on other results. But yeah, I guess the other game that stood out to me as well was probably just how good the Eagles were. And I know their season's already gone. Obviously, it doesn't mean much, that win, even though it was a pretty big win. Yeah, as you said, they always have that, I guess, game against the Panthers where they turn up and actually beat them. And it's funny. It really is funny because it's every regular season game, the Eagles beat them, but apart from the grand finals. So, yeah, well, I guess that's what's happened. And, yeah, well, hopefully round 27 is just as good because it's the final round of footy. And, well, it will be good because it feels like an early finals preview when you think about it. Some of the fixtures coming up. So it'll be great. Great for sure. All right. Now, on to our round 26 player of the week. So, obviously, again, plenty of standouts. But for Champa, in your opinion, who is your round 26 player of the week?
Oh, honestly, I can't choose anyone else other than Daly Cherry Evans. This could be probably your one as well, but yeah, Daly Cherry Evans, my God, he doesn't age. I'm just saying this right now. DCE does not age. He is immortal. All right, he is going to live forever because he's still playing as good as he was playing 10 years ago. It may be a stretch to say that he's in career best form, but the form that he's in right now is definitely one of the best. And Jesus Christ, lightning just came over there.
Yeah, same.
We got it at the same time. How about that?
Yeah, we've been attacked.
There's a thunder. Jeez, the storm I hear.
The storm here. Yeah, go away.
Anyway, yeah, DCE, yeah, he was just fantastic. He controlled the game so well, and the runs he was taking on himself, the line breaks he was making. Pretty sure he got a double as well, which is great to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, look, he just keeps winding back the clock. And look, that halfback Dally M award is most likely going to go to Sean Johnson. But geez, DCE's a good fair shout for getting that award as well. He's very close. And yeah, that's my player of the round, DCE.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. I think it's between him and SJ. And look, it probably will be SJ because of how good the Warriors have been. But look, Ches deserves his credit when it's due. And I think he's been a big part of the reason why we've been, I guess, better in some games this year. I mean, we haven't been great, but I think if we didn't have him, we'd be a lot worse. So, yeah, we're grateful to have Cherry Evans in that team every week. I was close to picking him as my player of the week as well, but I'm going to go a bit different, give it to Kohler from Manly. I think Kohler at fullback was really good. I was close to giving it to Walsh too, because Walsh was actually really good against the Raiders, but I guess because I was at the game, because it's a Manly player, we're not going to be playing finals, so I might as well just give enough praise to us as the season ends. But yeah, no, Kohler played well at fullback, and he got he got a try, but he set up like 3, I think, or something. And yeah, no, he played really well. And I think people do say that he could be the fullback and move Turbo to the centers, which I wouldn't rule out, but I don't know. I wouldn't do it yet. I wouldn't do it yet, but I think Kohler proved it yesterday that he is a capable fullback, and yeah, maybe he'll play that a bit more often as the season or next year goes on. But yeah, I think he's my player of the week so far.
Yeah, I reckon when you're looking at fullback replacements for Tommy Trbojevic, Kohler definitely is, I think, a fair shout now because he was in that position and he was playing fullback and he looked so safe. It's like that was his main position. He looked so
Yeah.
safe when there was an attack, taking those kick returns. He just didn't look out of touch. And look, if things don't look good for Tom Trbojevic and playing fullback and he has to move to a different position, Kohler is definitely a fair shout for taking over that role, and he covered it so well. So, Kohler is a very talented player, and he is definitely going to be probably one of the few. Look, I still think Manly is a top 8 team next year. A little preview for next year. I think Manly is going to find their footing and become a top 8 team, and I think one of the standout players for you guys is definitely going to be Kohler. So, if you can, really bank on him because he is going to be a big star soon.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right when you say that. And yeah, look, Kohler will be a great player. Like, I think he will develop over time to be something special. Like, I know he's young now and obviously hasn't reached his full potential, but from what we've seen, like, obviously speed and he's obviously got skill, and over time that will get better. So I think there's lots to be excited for as a Manly fan, but just for himself and being part of the game, it's gonna be great to see what he develops into for sure. In the chat, everyone's saying that they've got Ponga as their player of the week. Yeah, fair shout. Ponga played well as well. But yeah, I've got something to talk about with Ponga later on. Walsh, people were saying, and an interesting comment there by Matthew Barnes. He says that Jason Saab can be a fullback. I think he'll be good at it. I don't know. I think he's always been a winger for me, and I think he'd be good enough at fullback to take some runs, but I don't know. I don't think he's a full-time fullback. What do you think about that suggestion, Champa?
Oh, I've never seen him play fullback, and look, I'm not going to write him off. I think any winger can play fullback. Majority of the wingers in our comp can probably play fullback, but I think with Saab, you want him on the outside because DC loves doing those kicks right across to the wing, and Saab's just running onto it. You want his speed right on the edge, just so if a player makes a line break, he'll be there to chase him down and everything like that. So, look, I wouldn't throw away like Saab not playing fullback. I reckon he could, if there's no Garrick, no Collar, if he's a last resort, then why not? But he's a better winger. Just like Dallin Watson, he's elected has always been a better winger than fullback.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, I guess he'd be big enough for the runs, like I said, but I think with Saab, he doesn't have a passing game that much, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which you need as a fullback, but I think back in 2021 when Turbo got injured at the start of the year, there was talk he might have played there, but didn't end up happening. But I think you're right. Saab's a winger, and I think that's where he's better utilised. I think so. We agree on that one. And hello to Jim the Chooks fan as well in the chat. All right, we'll move on to our topics that we're going to talk about tonight. So as I said, as we both said, there's some big things to really get through here, and stay tuned for what's to come. But topic number one. So the very first one is that in yesterday's Knights win, it came at a cost with Kalen Ponga getting hurt yet again. And thankfully it wasn't a concussion this time because, we've been worried about how many concussions he's gotten. But what it is this time is that it's an AC joint injury. And he got that off the back of a tackle by Jesse Ramien. So people are saying it was dangerous and some people are saying it's a fair tackle, but I don't know. It wasn't a shoulder charge, I don't think. So I don't think it was that dangerous, but it was definitely a bit careless and you could have had time to pull out of it. But Champa, with Ponga being out, does this hurt Knights a bit coming to finals, or do you think there's enough there for them to be still a dark horse?
Oh, no, this definitely hurts the Knights a lot because Ponga has been the main man of this Knights resurgence in 2023. You look back at the eight-game win streak ever since that 6-6 win over the Bulldogs. I'm pretty sure that's when it started.
Yeah.
To yesterday's win against Cronulla. Ponga, in most of those matches, has been man of the match. And he's been the star player. You look at Ponga, the runs he makes, the line breaks he makes, the tries he sets up. He brings belief into that side that a lot of players wish they could do. Ponga he's the hope. He's the inspiration for the Knights, and you take him away, and you take a massive part away from the Knights. Now, I'm not saying that the Knights team isn't talented without him. You've still got players like you got Gamble, you got Crosslands, you got the Saifitis, Frizzell. You still got Fitzgibbon, you still got all those players. But Ponga, he's just with his runs and what he brings to the side, it's totally on a different level. Now the Knights are going to miss round 27. It is going to be a dud game because it's against the Dragons, and I'm guessing that Knights will rest most of their players. So win or lose, they still make the finals. It's when finals come, and if Kaliponga is healthy enough to make it. Now an AC joint, it's not broken, it's not dislocated or anything like that. I'm pretty sure it is just an injury on the joint. So it's not looking too serious. However, if the Knights do finish 5th, which I'm pretty sure they are, that means they'll be taking on the Raiders or the Sharks.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe Roosters or Rabbitohs, depends. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. Especially that they would want to hope it's not the Roosters or the Rabbitohs, because with how the Roosters have been flying lately, especially the Rabbitohs looking to try and when finals come, the Rabbitohs are a totally different team, but the Roosters, they're flying at the moment, and they are running full force into that top 8. If the Knights don't have the Roosters, if the Knights don't have Ponga against any of those teams, they lose. I'm calling it right now. They will lose. Ponga is a different player, so this will affect the Knights. So all they can hope is that Ponga recovers quickly, because without him, they're at a big loss.
Yeah, I agree. I think I guess everyone's seen how much of an influence he has in that Knights team, because, and you know what, it reminds me of how Tom was with us in 2021. Like when he came back to our team, he literally lit us up and made us a better team. And I think Ponga's the same, because his influence is obviously huge for Newcastle and the reason why they're going so well. And he's made players around him a lot better. Like Bradman Best has been in career best form with Ponga there. I think Greg Margie's been really good as well on the wing. So they're all clicking. And Phoenix Crossland too, our hooker, has been really underrated there. So yeah, things are clicking there in Newcastle. Things are looking on the up there. But yeah, I agree with you. I think with Ponga being out, it's going to take away a lot of what they've been building around him. And in Newcastle, they made it a fortress this year, so maybe that will help them either way with Ponga out. But I think, taking him out of that team, it's really a lot different, just in terms of how they attack and how they play, I think, because, as I said, they've really built their game around Ponga. So how Adam O'Brien goes about that will be interesting. But, look, Knights will finish like 5th or 6th, I think. They'll get a home final either way. So, as you said, I think it might be Canberra, it might be either Roosters or Souths as well. Just depends on what happens on Friday and Sunday. But either way, Knights have a home final, which is big for them. But yeah, I think Ponga being out it's going to hurt them, I think, for sure. Who would you play at fullback, like with Ponga being out, in your opinion? There's some options there.
Yeah, there are a few options. How are they looking in the reserves? Do they still have that? What's his name?
Lachlan Miller?
The fullback that started this year when Ponga was in 5A. It's in Miller.
Oh, Miller, yeah, Miller, Lachlan Miller, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely an option. And look, he's good. Don't get me wrong, he's pretty good. But again, Ponga is he's on a different level. But I think Miller would probably be the next best option, and that's probably who's going to play against the Dragons this week. So
yeah. I think that's the most logical choice. I mean, I think Miller's lost a bit of form over time, because he started the year well, but sort of drifted off a bit this year. But yeah, I think he'd be the most obvious choice for that Knights team. But either way, Newcastle will be fine. So we'll see how they all do go in the end. All right, on to the second topic now. And this is one that it's pretty big, because obviously. Well, look, obviously they're a proud club, and they're a club full of stars and everything like that. And I guess maybe there's some talk that may not add up, but there could be some that does add up. I don't know. But yeah, obviously the big talk is that with South, there's a bit of a a small fallout. And I think with some coaches and players, it seems to be a case where, you know, you've had Sam Burgess, who's left the club just last week, and obviously some miscommunication or just some sort of, I guess, words that put him off have made him leave early. Now, I'm not too sure if it's because of the Warrington job and how he wants to go there early, but I don't know. I think it's a bit weird for a club legend to walk out like that. I think something's definitely happened. But Champa, do you think this affects Souths going forward, or do you think this is like a very small thing being blown out of proportion? What do you reckon about the Souths crisis?
Well, this is definitely something that has been affecting their games recently, and from what I've gathered from sources like NRL 360 and all any other sources, there has been a lot of sort of interclub turmoil between the coaching staff, like Sam Burgess, John Morris. They've all clashed heads with just sort of a lot of people, with Jason Demetrios, and then obviously the infamous phone call that's been brought to the public between Sam Burgess and Russell Crowe, the owner of Rabbitohs. We all go back to that infamous photo with Russell Crowe and Sam Burgess at the 2014 Grand Final. Well, from what's been told, that apparently they had a very heated exchange over a phone call, which ended in Russell Crowe hanging up the phone without even saying goodbye to Sam Burgess. So, it shows how it really shows how things are heating up within the Rabbitohs, and as much as for someone like Sam Burgess, a player who has a lot of heart and love for the club, to just walk out early, it's crazy. And I'm pretty sure the board discussed with Sam Burgess and John Morris. They said if you're committed, stay, or if you're not, leave. John Morris stayed. Sam Burgess left. So obviously there had to have been something, growing for him to want to leave. I think this is affecting Souths, and this is something that's affecting their play, because when the coaching staff are not seeing eye to eye, that ultimately reflects on the players, because the coaches are what are the ones that are teaching the players. And it's something that Souths really need to just fix very, very soon, because the finals are around the corner and there's still a good chance of not making it. Yeah. And the team started the year that was premiership favourites, riding literally on the top of the table.
They were. Now
they're just one game away from not making the finals. So this is something that whatever's happening between whether it's Jason Demetrios, Sam Burgess, John Morris, Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, because their names been brought up into this. Whatever's happening, they need to snap it out really quickly and focus on footy, because they got the Roosters this week. They're long rivals, and they are flying at the moment. They are demolishing everyone in their path, because they want to make finals. And I've never seen a team come from where they were in mid-table out of the 8 to flying, skyrocketing all the way high to just one game out of the 8, one win out of the 8. So the Souths really need to find their footing, because if they lose to the Roosters, they're still they're in a lot of trouble. They're in a heaps of trouble. And look, I don't even know 100% what's happening within that club. But all I know is that they need to start pulling their heads together, because this is mid-season. This is the final round before finals.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, actually. I think, looking at what has happened at Souths, it's definitely not ideal with finals being so close. But, I guess there's a bit of bullshit there too, probably some fake news. But I'd say with how Burgess left, there's a bit of a truth there and a bit of a little fallout, I'd say. But hopefully it doesn't affect them long term. And hello to Peter Bulldogs as well. Good to see you yesterday. But, yeah, I agree, Champ. I think that the Rabbitohs need to really somehow get their form together, because I guess they have been a bit off recently, losing games, and players seem to be a bit out of confidence too. And clearly the biggest name players in Cody Walker and Latrell Mitchell are two very key players for that club. And when they have games like they did against Newcastle, for example, it's not a good sign. And obviously, you need those boys to really, show what they're normally good at, and that obviously helps the whole team. And but just back to the whole phone call thing as well, Russell Crowe. It's funny how they get that. Like, how do they know what really happened in a phone call? I guess that's maybe there's a bit of truth there, but I don't know. I don't know how the journalists or whoever reported that could see the phone call.
Well, to really wrap things up, it was James Hooper who reported that.
Well, I mean, James Hooper, you can't trust that bloke for.
There you go. James Hoops is the one that reported that. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that shiny bulb and grub. That's what I would like to do. But, yeah, I don't believe much that he says anyway. But I think just the whole story and the whole point of this, the whole thing is that, yes, fallouts and little crises happen. But, I think CF's are still a very big club full of great players, and they will definitely want to be up for this one. And against the Roosters, they normally are. So it's a big test for them come Friday. But, yeah, I think they'll be okay. But they can't let what's happening distract them, though, because, it's already got into them a bit. So it can't happen going forward. No way. Okay, on to the third topic now. And this is something that might infuriate you, Champa, about what happened on Saturday. And yeah, yet again, when doesn't he do high tackles or something stupid? Jared Hargraves is out. It's gonna be 6 weeks for what he did to Abby Coruscant, that high tackle he did, and it was awful. It was an awful tackle. Like, Hargraves does not learn. It feels like he's done this so many times, and yet again he repeats and repeats and repeats after any dangerous contact he does. Like, he's a human. I don't know. He's a human suspension. Giver. Like, he's a gift. He's a gift that keeps on coming. And I think just with him, it's really disappointing for him to miss more games to the Roosters. But even with finals, like, he's gonna miss finals to the Roosters. They win on Friday, but of course, nothing's guaranteed yet. But he's gonna miss Vegas too next year. So no Vegas for Jared. But yeah, Champa, as a Tigers fan, bro, you must be fuming with what happened to Appy as well, because that could put him in doubt for this Friday too against Manly.
It's so funny how Jared Hargraves is at the end of his career, yet he still makes these dumb decisions. Like, come on. And him complaining about, it was shoulder to shoulder. Do we need to... we slow-mode it down to the absolute slowest we can. We see the shoulder make contact with the head, and it was not only was it shoulder to the head, it was late. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was trying to take off Api Korosal's head, and this is, and I'm glad that the Jiu-Jitsu finally stepped in and actually made a right call for once, giving him 6 weeks off. Honestly, I think he should have been sent from the field. If I'm being honest, I think he should have been sent from the field, because we've seen a lot of tackles that, in my opinion, did not warrant a sin bin or a send off. But then we see tackles like this, and he gets 10 in the bin, where it's deliberate shoulder to the head, and it was late as well. And I looked at that and I'm thinking, that he needs to get at least 6 to 8. I would have went 8. 6 is pretty fair. The Roosters make finals. He's not playing any sort of finals, which is good. And I'm pretty sure he's hit with a heavy fine as well.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So, which is well deserved. When Jared Hargraves is at the end of his career, he's still making these reckless, stupid high tackles. It's like he hasn't learned anything. And I'm going to say something right now. I'm going to be completely honest. The game is going to be a much better game once he retires.
Yeah, I think you're right.
There you go. I've said it. You guys can quote me. You can scream call me. The game is going to be a better game once he retires. There you go.
Yeah. Look, I think in some way you're right, because, once he's gone, it'd be a lot more, I guess, a bit more like, less talk around him and less talk around the tackles he does. And I think that's good for everyone not to have that being more in the game. But I think he's been a great competitor for the Roosters. You can't deny that. But what he's done to Appy, but what he's done to many players in the past, all those tackles and stuff he's done, it's not a good look for him. And he'll retire being hated, I think. And I think next year might be his last year too. So I don't think he'll play any more than next year, I reckon. But yeah, he'll definitely retire being a grub. There's no doubt about that. But obviously, look, that tackle though on Appy though, it was a disgrace, and obviously it's a fair suspension in my opinion. I guess you can argue that maybe 6 is a stretch, but maybe because of his history, that's why it's 6 weeks because of what he's done in the past. So maybe that's why they went that far.
Yeah.
But yeah. You can't question his effort for the Roosters, but you can definitely question why he's such a grub sometimes, and that can't be denied. But yeah, so you reckon it was a fair suspension for Jared?
I think it was a fair. Yeah, I reckon it was a fair suspension. I think it was well deserved, and it's 6 weeks. I think that's fair because again, we're trying to eliminate these tackles out of our game. They're stupid, they're reckless, they're careless, whatever you want to call it. He's a senior player, and he shouldn't. It's not something you want to accept for your younger forwards within the system. That these sort of tackles are when you comp, because they're not. They only give you suspensions, and he should know better. He really should.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, how old is he? Like 33, 34? Yeah, come on. At that age, you're a bit more level-headed, I would have thought. So, yeah. Oh, well.
Exactly.
6 weeks is for Hargreaves, and I don't think many would complain. I don't think, apart if you're a Roosters fan, you probably would be. Though. All right, on to topic number 4 now. This is some more injury news, but for the Panthers this time. And obviously, the Panthers are locked in contention with the Broncos for the minor premiership, but it comes as a blow with Jerome Luai being out for. Well, we don't know how long, but he'll definitely miss next week against the Cowboys, or this week, I should say now. But, Luai, like Ponga, picked up an AC joint injury while he was trying to, I think, plant the ball or in a tackle. I think. I can't remember what happened, but he definitely extended his arm too far and just got it in a bad position where he got injured. And, AC joint injury, no good. And I think it's the first time he's actually had this injury too. And he's not a player that gets many injuries, I've noticed too, Luai. So a bit unlucky for him there. But with him gone now, it makes things a bit interesting for the Panthers because we've seen so many times the Panthers without clearing how they go, and they're still pretty good. But without Luai, does that really take away a lot of their attack and what they have going forward? I don't know. But Champa, what do you make of his loss for the Panthers heading to finals? And in your opinion, who would you play there? Because the Panthers have depth in that halves position, thankfully.
Yeah, they do have depth in that halves position, and look, losing Luai is a big factor because you take away his X factor, you take away his connection he has with his outside backs, his back rows. He loves bringing those short balls out to his back rows. He's a real X player. He's a real X factor player, as in he's exciting. He's light on his feet. He can swift and swerve and step, and he's really a handy player when you want a sneaky line break, or if he sees tired forwards in a hole, he'll just go straight for it. So they are going to miss a lot of strike within their attack. In terms of heading into the finals, because from what I've been told, it was a dislocation, so he could be out for quite a while, and even a good chance of missing the whole finals in general. So let's just hope that he does, rested well, and he comes back very quicker than ever, because I think Penrith they do gain a lot when Luai is in the team. He's really an asset to them in terms of a replacement for him. Well, yeah, look, they've got a lot of depth in terms of halves. You've got obviously Jack Cogger. I'm pretty sure he's still playing in the New South Wales Cup, which is
he is. Yeah,
he's a good chance of filling in that position. You also got Salome as well. I'm pretty sure he's got a lot of halves experience. Probably not the first option, but look, it's definitely an option there. I'm pretty sure even Sonny Luke can have a crack in the halves as well, which is
You can. Yeah.
he obviously comes off the bench for Mitch Kennedy. So if Mitch Kennedy can play full 80 and Sonny Luke slides into the 5'8", that'll be interesting. And is Kurt Force still on the squad? I'm pretty sure.
I think he came this year as a top, well, actually, no, development player this year. But yeah, he's been playing a lot more reserve grades. So I think he can.
Yes.
I don't know.
So again, another option for them because every time Kurt Falls, comes in during Origin, I think he's a great player. So yeah, that's definitely another option. So they do have a lot of options there in terms of finding a good replacement for Luai. However, you still lose that strike, you still lose that X factor, you still lose that exciting, that quick lightning pace footy. So the replacements are safe. However, still a big loss without Luai.
Yeah, definitely. I think Luai, because as I said before, I don't think we've seen a lot, of the Panthers without Luai because it's been clear he's been out with suspension or injury. And I think you're right. Luai brings the X factor, brings the energy to the team. So it'll be interesting to see who complements that energy and complements the way Luai plays because, he's a unique style of play. Like he runs the ball really well and has a great left foot step as well. So can Cogger be the option to be there? I mean, he's done well for when Cleary's been out, but I don't know. Like Cogger and Cleary are a bit similar, even though Cleary's better, obviously. But I think you want just a half, like a 5'8" that can run the ball too, and bring a bit more attacking options. Where I think Cogger's a bit kick happy, like he likes to kick the ball a lot and doesn't want to attack too much. So I don't know if that's really something Panthers would do. I think Tyrone Peachy can play there too because I think Isaac Tago's back this week. So the Rango man, so you can even play him there too. So I would not deny that option. Even I guess, they've got. I mean, like you said, Sonny Luke can play there. Can't he? Sonny Luke can play a bit there. I think he's done something there before, so maybe him. But yeah, honestly though, I think if Ivan Cleary was playing it smart and safe, it'd be Cogger or Tyrone Peachy, as they're both experienced enough to fill a hole there. But look, obviously Luai will be missed the Panthers, and I think it's not ideal for them. And obviously, I want to try and defend the minor premiership as well. But if Broncos win against the Storm on Thursday, they lock it in. So, like, even the Panthers beat the Cowboys somehow, and even though that could probably happen, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Broncos, if they beat the Storm, then they're locked in for the minor premiership. So it's a big week coming up. But as far as losing Luai goes to Panthers, it's huge, and we'll have to wait and see how they do go about him and who replaces him tomorrow at 4 p.m. will be very interesting. Got a few trolls in the live chat, so I have to unfortunately time them out. I don't know who is behind that account, but it's gone now. Anyway, on to the fifth and final topic. So, a bit of a fun one, I guess. This is just for a bit of fun and, a little bit of a prediction we can all make here if you want in the live chat. But Champa, obviously the top 8's nearly set, apart from, I guess, everyone from 5th to 11th. But for anyone that's locked in the 8 so far, or whoever, is in the 8 currently, is there a team, like a really big team, that has been going well all year that could potentially flop in finals? Like I'm talking about like a Sharks 2022, how they went out in straight sets and made the top 4, came second. Maybe a team like, I don't know, Roosters in 2020 when they made the top 4 and lost straight sets as well, or Storm 2021 in the prelim. Like in your opinion, who could be that team that really flops in finals this year and who really has a disappointing final series?
I think this one's a pretty easy one for me. I'm going to go the Melbourne Storm. Look, the Melbourne Storm, they're in the top 4, and I've watched the Storm very closely this year. It's like you're watching something and it's still as good as it's always been, but something's not right. you just watch the Melbourne Storm and you're like, this isn't the same Melbourne Storm I watched 2 or 3 years ago, or even just like last year, or the year before. It's like that something's off. They're not the same team as they once were. Whether it's attack, whether it's defense, it's like you watch the Storm and you think, look, you go back to games like that match against the Dragons, or earlier this year with games like the Bulldogs and the Titans, and even the game against the Knights. You just look to you, and they that when they got hammered by the Cowboys, you look at the Storm and you just think to yourself, something's not right with them. And for some reason, they've managed to find a top 4 position, which is pretty bizarre. But they're locked in and they're locked in the top 4 finish. I don't know. I can't explain about the Storm. It's just something's off about them. It's not the same Storm as we're used to. And honestly, this is the team I see choking within the finals because. When it comes to finals footy, it's first v third, second v fourth, correct?
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you froze for a minute there, but Storm to choke. That's very interesting, actually, because Melbourne. Well, I mean, as you said, Champa. Like, I will add to that and say that Melbourne do have a history of choking too. So, in the past, Storm have obviously been prelims or semi-finals where they've been expected to do big things, but they end up choking, not go the full way. Like 2011 against the Warriors in that prelim, we all remember that one. Even, I guess, 2014 too, when they got smashed by the Bulldogs at Amy Park in the finals too. And 2016, that was a choke because they were big that year as well in the grand final, and Sharks beat them. 2019 was a choke. So, and 2021 was probably the biggest I'd ever seen as well, as they were the best club all year in 2021, but then choked. So, I mean, that's a fair prediction to make there. It's like I know it's a bit bold because it's Melbourne and obviously they're a great club still, but I think you're right in terms of how they've been this year. They have been a bit more inconsistent. They have had a bit of a dip off. Yeah. So,
and like when it comes to week 1 of the finals, I'm pretty sure it's second v fourth, right, and first v third.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So look at it this way: whoever wins the Mine Premiership, whether it's Brisbane or Penrith, the Storm has to face either one of those teams, Penrith or Brisbane. Now, I don't see them beating any of those teams, even on their best days, because you look at the whole competition. I think Brisbane and Penrith, they're just a step ahead of everyone else, and I don't think Storm have the footy to match that. I don't care if Pappenhausen's back or whatever that is. The Storm can't match the footy that Penrith and Brisbane produce. So they lose that, and then they got to take on the winner of let's say you got the Knights who could win, you got Roosters if they make it, Sharks. I don't see any hope for them. So honestly. Yeah, when you look at when you really start to break it down, the Storm have a very, very tough finals footy coming up for them.
They do. Yeah, they do. I mean, when you put it like that, I mean, they're potentially versing the Broncos or Panthers the first week of finals. Yeah, that's at Suncorp and Bluebet. So it's hard to imagine that they'll actually win any of those. I think, based on what we've seen this year. But yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting to tell where they'll be, Melbourne, come finals time. But for me, the biggest choke for me, I reckon. I mean, I hate to say it, I really do. And I don't know why I've just thought of this right now, but I reckon the Warriors can be the big flop in the finals.
Whoa, that's the fan favorite going in. Everyone's backing them.
Yeah, the Wires. Yeah, I know. Like. The dream would be to see them in a grand final and see, I guess, packed out a core stadium of all the Warriors fans there. That would be the dream, I know. And I really want them to be there, but I don't know. I just think from what I've seen in the past couple of weeks in the Warriors, it doesn't indicate to me that they're a really serious team. And I might be wrong, and I hope I am. Like, speaking right now, I could be talking a whole lot of shit, but I think just what I've seen the past couple of weeks, they couldn't really shut out Manly. They couldn't really shut out the Dragons. They couldn't really,
They've got a lot of tight wins, eh? They weren't convincing.
yeah, that's right. Even Tigers, they couldn't really shut out your boys as well. So, obviously they're not really clicking as what they have been all year, but they have been a bit scrappy and they've still been winning games. But yeah, I don't know. It's not the sort of form you want heading into finals because it doesn't really sit well in finals when you play all these big teams. So the Warriors need to get their act together and probably just be a bit more consistent because they are dropping off a bit now. So do they go out in straight sets or do they go out in the semi-finals or wherever? Yeah, look, I really am afraid they could go out in straight sets. I really do believe that could be the case because they're finishing third either way, and I'll play either Panthers or the Broncos, and it's most likely going to be Panthers or Bluebird, I think. So far what I think. So they won't win that one, I don't reckon.
Well,
but
yeah. All I know is that finals footy is looking so exciting. We got teams like the Warriors, Brisbane Knights, we all, teams that we haven't seen play a finals footy in ages. This is going to be very, very exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I think just looking at where the Warriors have been this year, it's a great achievement. Obviously, it's a fantastic achievement. You can't deny that. And I really am happy for the Warriors making the finals for the first time in like 5 years, 2018. But there's a fear that they could really, slip here and really struggle. But I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But either way, it's a big final series coming up, and whoever goes the whole way, it's unpredictable. Because I don't think you can really predict a genuine winner so far to win the comp this year. It's really tough to tell. But, but look, obviously, it's been a good season for those sort of clubs like the Warriors and Broncos who weren't expected to be this good. So they'll take seasons like this and hopefully continue that sort of form going forward into the next year as well, because teams do drop off. So hopefully they keep their consistency up. More trolls. Seriously, it's just ridiculous.
Jesus Christ, honestly.
Of course, it's Titans trolls as well. Like I don't know who's behind the account. It's obviously run by someone, but yeah, not ideal. But anyway, Champa, that brings it another end to an episode tonight of episode 70 of the Ankle Breaker podcast. Bro, thank you for coming on again. And since it was just me and us, you and I tonight, I think we did a good job. So good show, and bring on Friday.
Oh, Friday's going to be very, very interesting. So, made the best team win. But, yeah, it was a great podcast. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for everyone for watching, and hope you guys all enjoyed.
Yeah, I mean, look, Friday will be good. I know Manly and Tigers can't make finals, but, there's obviously going to be a lot of at stake. I mean, Brooks's barbecue might be there too, and you might even see Brooks on the Bob Fulton grandstand, maybe sitting there with a nice, Forex drinking away and whatever. It's a Luke Brooks Cup. And you might even have Tommy Talau, who's coming to the club next year, be there too for the Tommy Talau Cup. So.
Look, it's still so surreal to see those players leave, especially Luke Brooks, who's been a journeyman for us. But you know what? Final game of the season, we're taking on Manly. I don't see it as a dud match. I see it as it's going to be a real grueling one. If you know what, how about we do some early predictions for that game?
Yeah.
Before we wrap it up. All right, I've got 2 predictions coming up. My first one is that Junior Tupou scores the double in the first half. So we get a Junior Tupou double.
Okay.
Second one, in the 70th minute of the match, there'll be a massive punch on.
Oh, you reckon? Wow.
End the season, nothing's on the line. They're just going to start throwing it. I can't guarantee you there's going to be a massive punch on. If I'm going to pick any players in particular, I'm going to go Hamoli Olakau'atu and David Clemmer.
Oh, wow. Well, that wouldn't shock me because Clemmer likes to fight. He's obviously had a bit of beef with Big Keon before, and Olakau'atu is someone you wouldn't mess with, I don't think. So that could happen. That's a very interesting prediction. But if it happens, then, I know who to credit. As for me, I reckon Ray Vega might score the first try of the game. Vega on the wing. I think he might get one early. But the other one might be, you know what? I reckon both teams will kick a field goal. I reckon.
Ooh, that's a good
I
one.
reckon. I reckon before halftime, Cherry Evans will kick one to put us in the lead by a few points. But then just to end the game, I don't know, for the fun of it, you might have, I don't know, Abby Coruscant go for a field goal from dummy half. I don't know, just something so bold. Just anything could happen. Seriously, it's one of those games where the luck of it, anything could happen there. But we'll see what happens. It should be hopefully a good game. But everyone, that brings the end to the podcast. As always, like, comment, and subscribe, and go and check out Champa's YouTube channel as well. And yeah, no, I hope you all enjoy the show. So until next time, and enjoy your weekend of footy ahead. Thank you for watching.
All right, see you guys.